morning all, hope you're doing well. We have quite a bit of a risk on mood for the QDB service today, so much that the herd have gone quite long, and it's very unusual for them to be this long on indices, so it's quite unusual. Normally they're really bearish, but they're actually gone quite bullish. We did see a pump on the technicals, so that's worth noting. We were 16 yesterday, we're now 52, and it's measuring these instruments down here. So we had a bit of a weird day today, yesterday, apologies. The VIX got crushed, and the Treasury year, the 10-year, fell. That got pretty crushed, but the dollar fell. But yeah, and we had a negative S&P, negative Dow Jones. So something was a bit out of bonk. Nasdaq did close positive, but these probably shouldn't have gone negative. So I wonder whether or not it's the sentiment, and wonder whether or not it's this that's causing a bit of chaos, maybe. VIX is still above 20, so it's worth noting. And it says might just have to be a case of just sitting on your hand today. I sat on my hand yesterday, and it was really good because I wasn't sure at all about direction, and my approach is that I'm going to try and buy the dip. But I'm not going to buy the dip if the herd are long. It doesn't make any sense. So I need for this to at least improve on the 24-hour difference. So I'm going to be looking tomorrow for some trades, but at the moment it's a bit too uncertain. If anything, you can probably do some scalping, but I wouldn't want to hold a position like long term. Not when there's fairly mixed, but you can see there's greens and reds on that risk calculation. Failure rate QDB scores, sorry. Let me move this across. I think that's what confused me. Yeah, QDB scores. So let's see the strongest today. AN. So the ADR is 58, 0.58. We've moved 0.22. It's a little bit of gas left in the tank, but it's a strong one. Pound CAD really turned around. Remember what we were saying about the CAD yesterday in Discord? There's some trade opportunities around the Canadian dollar. We have to remember we've got the Bank of Canada tomorrow, and we've got the ECB on Thursday. Also, we've got a power speech tomorrow as well. That's fairly late in the evening. It's about 8 o'clock, so it's a long day tomorrow. So I will probably be taking it fairly easy tomorrow, but if there's any trade opportunities, I'll definitely take them. But there's potentially a weak CAD scenario, but you might want to wait for the Bank of Canada first. Okay, dollar Swiss is weak. It's interesting, and so it's only got a 5 score out of 15. So it's interesting. There's this strong Swissy, really strong. So be careful about that. You know, if you've got a position on, say, the Kiwi Swiss, someone did in Telegram, then you might want to be keeping an eye on the dollar Swiss, because that's going to be a big mover, and it's possible that the Kiwi Swiss will track the dollar Swiss, you know, in its direction. So got to be careful. If the dollar Swiss is weak, it might mean a bit more weakness for the riskier currency there. The New Zealand dollar is certainly riskier than the USD, but if we go risk on, then it might do okay. See, they've gone quite long CAD, and they've gone long dollars. They're shorted the Aussie, so we see the price performance increase on the Aussie, price performance has fallen on the USD, and the price performance has fallen on the CAD. So that's how that works. Okay, this is a really good metric. I'm going to copy and paste this into Discord, and I'll do that after the bulletin. So that's quite cool. So that's the spreadsheet taken care of. Let's look at indices and gold. Bring that across. Now the thing is with gold, it could potentially be falling, because this is going to be one humongous stop run, so it's going to be less shorts, and if they go long, then it's going to be a little bit of downward pressure for the price action. See, they could go less short by being stopped out, or they could be going long, but I don't know who would be wanting to buy up here. But perhaps there are new retail traders looking to enter, but they're not aware of the sentiment at all. They're probably looking at this and going, oh, this looks quite good, and they're going to buy it en masse, and then it's going to fall. However, I think this is going to be less short, because basically it's come up to take stops, especially up there. And that would have been where I would have had to exit had I been trading it, because I worry about the round number, and then we've got that massive impulse, sort of reactionary move above the round number, just to really propel and hunt people down. So 2000 would have been quite scary for me personally had I been trading this. So it looks potentially like a a flush, a scare tactic, and it could be a little bit ominous if they're going to go long, or shall I say less short. So be careful. Perhaps 1963 level. I know Mr. Bosch is saying there's a 200 MA at 1965, so that could be a good support. Just be careful here, and we're kind of range bound, as you can see. DAX was, they're making, what's going on here? Alright, okay, so they're selling it and price is coming down. So how legit this is, we'll have to wait and see. We've got 15 minutes left of the hour, so we should be wicking below, pending that this remains, is pointing down. So we should see a wick below on here. So a lot of turbulence. So remember that the DAX should be coming up. Alright, so let's look at your US. And US should also be coming up because they've sold it, right? And we do have some resistance up here, some strong resistance at 33450. That block here is going to be a strong resistance, so that should be coming up. S&P, and they haven't, well, we could argue they're probably selling it ever so slightly, so you could probably argue we could be wicking below. And so really we'll have to wait and see for the next 14 minutes, next couple of hours. So I'm still going to sit on my hands because I don't like the way that the risk calculation, what that's telling me. It's telling me that we should probably be falling. You know, at a big picture level, we're 54, nearly 55% long. So we can probably fall because anything above 50 is a sell, right? So if it's going towards 50, it's going to be a buy. So it's still a little bit tricky. I would be very, very careful. Because if this falls, it's going to impact your FX and it's going to impact our robot. So we can quickly look at the robot, and we are suffering a little bit compared to about 20 minutes ago. We were minus 17. So if we do go risk off, if the S&P falls, which it might well do, then it's going to impact our robot. So we've got a condition now on the robot that doesn't open any trades if the VIX is pumping, and that's quite a good requirement, because if the VIX is pumping, it's going to send uncertainty, and we don't want uncertainty in our robot. So these are the last trades running before that check. The check's in, but any signals that are created after are going to have that condition. It's got to have a no-go, no-go condition. And unfortunately, if we do go risk off today, we might encounter a little bit of naughtiness on our profit and loss. We have taken quite a bit of loss over the last 10 days, but it will depend on your risk appetite and whether or not we go up or down on the S&P or the Dow Jones or the DAX will impact the robot. Okay, so this is why it's very tricky, because we haven't got stable market conditions. These are reliant on risk appetite. Okay, they're created from retail sentiment, but they rely on risk on, risk off flows, and we don't know what the flows are going to be in the future. You know, we can't really predict the future, but we can look at the risk calc, and we do know that we're risk off at the big picture. So how legit that pump was in the technicals, we'll have to wait and see. And it might be that they've might have to intervene on the yields as well, because these are going absolutely parabolic. So this could be a tricky day today. I'd be really, really careful. And then tomorrow we've got the Bank of Canada, so we might see some weakness on the CAD. And we've got a Powell speech, and we've got the ECB on Thursday. So be careful with the euro, the dollar, and the CAD.